Yes, I am absolutely doing a drink for what might be the most critically panned movie of 1999. Does the film deserve such a good drink, or at least the time and effort put into this? Maybe, or maybe you'll need this drink to make it through the film. For this drink that I'm calling the Spider Canyon Cocktail, alternate names included Taming the West and the Loveless Alliance, and let me know if you prefer either of those, you'll need a rye whiskey, sarsaparilla, Orleans bitters, and salt. In your glass, add a dash or drop of the Orleans bitters, a pinch of salt, an ounce and a half of your rye of choice. I'm using a 100 proof rye here, and give it a swirl. Add some ice, top it off with 3 ounces of that sarsaparilla, and enjoy.
Cheers!
At the risk of losing some of you, I gotta say, I genuinely enjoyed this film. That's not, I enjoyed it back in '99 when I was a kid and didn't know better. That's, I watched it last night and Kenneth Branagh is positively chewing the scenery and I'm here for every second of it. It's not a masterpiece, but I think it gets more hate than it deserves. That hate, among a few other reasons, is part of why we didn't get a full-sized mechanical tarantula figure, and instead I have to settle for this Burger King Kids Meal toy number 5. So first, let's assemble this little guy. Not that I see a lot of kids meal toys that need assembly or have a lot of kids meal toys in general, but the instructions are super clear here with the legs in color-coded bags and everything. There are 2 styles of legs here, with one style plugging into the blue pegs and the other style plugging into the regular copper ones. The tarantula in the film was significantly more silver, so I might go ahead and give this guy a new paint job, but I should not expect a kids meal toy to be perfectly accurate. The most egregious thing is how massive Loveless is in the cockpit, taking up the entire thing and sticking out of the top. Literally like 10 times the size he should be. But at least this way we can see the sculpt and paint detail on the face, which I'd say is very well done for being about 3mm. Aside from looking pretty cool and being something you can build, there's also an action gimmick. You just twist this crank on the back and watch it go nowhere. It vibrates, like it just vibrates. It might turn in circles a bit depending on what surface it's on, but otherwise it slows down into a pathetic display of nothing, much like the film's box office numbers. But no, seriously, I still like this figure since it's going to be a display piece on my shelf. I love that it doesn't have an extra wind-up bit sticking out of the side, and instead they utilize the existing design. Now earlier I realized I said full-size tarantula, and to clarify, I don't mean one that I can ride like in the film, but I instead envisioned one big enough to fit all the other action figures. Yes, there was a legit action figure toy line featuring all your favorite characters, along with things like the Derailleur tank and Desert Wasp Nitro Cycle. Now, big action blockbusters that feature violence, blood, language, sex, and all that fun stuff are no strangers to having toys for kids too young to see the film, but I think this one is one of the worst offenders. I just imagine someone taking their kid to Burger King, getting a Wild Wild West toy, and going, oh yeah, I remember that from the 60s, and then bringing your kid to the film only to see a man get decapitated in the opening scene before cutting to Will Smith hooking up in a water tower. The rest of the film is packed with violence, language, mostly implied nudity, sexual innuendo, and racial jokes that give it that solid PG-13 rating. Having not seen the original show, I can't speak to how well the film honors it or catered to old fans, but based on how people have talked about it over the last 20 some odd years, I imagine not well. So there went the toy line, and I highly doubt that NECA or some other company would try to redo any of these. So in the meantime, I'll just have to settle for this kids meal toy. I hope you can find your dream toys, and while you're at it, please drink responsibly.